Lily does all the data entry, like all my scribbly notes. She just logs into the data. She knows how to like interpret my scribbles. She gets it right. It's amazing. So that was like this huge relief. And then we just hired Victoria, who you will meet today, hopefully. Now, but she's on a 10-day quarantine because she had a COVID exposure at the beginning of this week. So she's okay though. But it was funny because then we had to pause again, focus on making sure she was up to speed. She gets up to speed really quickly because this is kind of her line of work anyway. So, but we're gonna turn the corner. I just feel it.
I'm really happy for you because I know that space, right?
Yeah.
And I know exactly that space you're talking about, that investment of training, right? That investment of, being able to just turn it over and say, okay, you've got it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's also part, like, it's a personal growth thing too, because you get used to holding things and you have to say, do I trust myself as a teacher, number one, and then do I trust the other person to hold it and then be gracious if there's give them very valuable critique if there's something funky with it. Yeah,
you're right. There's a lot
it's going to be good.
Yeah, I definitely hit the point. I mean, I can see there was definitely a time in my life when I'd be like, oh, I need to do it myself, because that's the only way it's going to get done well, right?
Yeah. And then
I'm past that, right?
You step back and you go, okay, ego, like what's that all about, right? What are you trying to prove to yourself or others about that?
Right.
It's so beautiful when you can let the skills of others shine, because then you go, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I should have, because it's pretty awesome.
Exactly. I'm learning that now, like every day, right? They look, they'll come to me sometimes and say, well, what do you think? And I'm like, well, it looks like you got it, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, as long as you're willing to hold that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny, there are a lot of times when I'd be like, I wouldn't have done it that way, and it's a good thing they're doing it.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Totally. Yep.
And those are really good feelings.
It's already evident in like Victoria being excited about the outreach component, because she was hired as the outreach and administrative specialist. They kind of modified the role a little bit, but she's already crafting a plan. We're already going back and forth. I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome, right? Like pretty soon we're just going to have to meet, because you're going to tell me all the things that you've been doing that I'm not a part of, which is amazing.
Yes, that's where we are now. We have weekly meetings, right? And they just tell me everything they've done. And I'm just sitting there going, wow.
You're a cheerleader at that point.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Awesome.
I know, it's like the best job ever.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm glad to hear that. That gives me hope too, that we can achieve the same in the future. And
I'm sure you will.
I forgot about the background thing. I forgot how to do it. Mary.
It's so easy. Just hit download, and then when you go to background, just hit add image and click on it. And I'm like the least technologically sophisticated person in the world.
Are we supposed to put a background in?
Yeah, Jessica sent it out.
I didn't see it. Did it come in our email?
Yeah, Jessica sent it out and saying it, for Ernest, like if we could do it. I mean, it's not like we can always say it, but
yeah, but I don't see it. I don't have any email. Hold on. What the hell happened to it?
I could send it to you.
If you don't mind, but I'm
no, I mean, it may be, it's, yeah.
Yeah, when did she send it? Because I don't see
Thursday. I'm sending it to you now.
Thank you.
Totally forgot about that. Let me see where.
Good morning.
Hey, Jessica.
Good morning.
I'm frantically trying to figure out how to do the background here.
Lindell, do you need us to resend it to you?
I just sent it to
her. Yeah. Oh, did you send it to my? Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
I sent it to both accounts.
Got it. Thank you.
Oh, look, this looks so festive. That was a good idea, Jessica.
Thank you. Andy, I like how yours is projected on.
I didn't have, when I tried, I did a little try to set it up. There's too many like different patches of dark and light behind me, so it kind of started doing weird things. So I just put up some yellow construction paper and got it working.
I'm not sure I know how to do this. I'll be back. I have to go find a password.
What a great idea.
Yeah, Jessica, this is really cute.
Thank you. It's the small things.
Is today his actual birthday?
I think it was
yesterday. Okay, well, it's close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd and Jessica and Ernest, for the lovely package of goodies.
Yay, you made it. I was so pleased.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Those
Did
guys are
everyone
amazing.
share?
Yeah. Thank you.
Now I have to get my phone. I'll be back.
So Jessica, I won't be able to stay for do all the whole meeting. I have a family obligation this afternoon, so have to cut out a little bit early.
Okay, thanks for letting us know. We hope to be done by noon today, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Then I hopefully should be about 12:30 is when I have to go, so that should work.
happy birthday,
Happy
Ernest!
birthday, Ernest!
Sorry for my lateness. I had to get my drink for the day, and I got caught by people at Starbucks talking, and then I would come back home and I find this on my porch.
Good.
Nice.
On my porch, and y'all got. I mean, the screen. Y'all too much. So much, man. I mean, I thank you. Really, y'all are too kind, and I'm just honored to be a part and with you guys. So, thank you. I'm ready to have a great day and make a difference here in Charlottesville. So
Okay, so special thanks to Jeanette for we were planning that and she picked up the sweets for you and dropped it off. So thank you, Jeanette, for doing that.
Oh, thank you, Jeanette. Oh my goodness.
Happy birthday,
I'm sorry I
Yeah.
wasn't here when you drove by, but man, that's amazing. I can't wait to eat. And the snack stuff. Thank you, Jessica. I mean, that's
You're so
and Tom.
You're so
Okay.
welcome.
Yeah, so thank you guys. Was I the last one to arrive? I'm sorry.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Who are we missing? We're missing Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine messaged to say she wouldn't be able to make it today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are we missing anyone else or? No, okay.
Do we have everyone, Todd?
We do have everyone, as you said, Catherine won't be with us, but everyone else is here. So thank you, everybody, for doing this. This is amazing.
All right, let's call the meeting to order at 10:05 a.m. on April 23rd. Roll call.
Here comes the roll call. Jessica,
Present.
Ernest, happy birthday.
I am present.
Jeanette,
Present.
Mary,
Present.
Wolfgang,
Here.
and we'll acknowledge that Catherine is not here. Erica,
Yeah.
yay. Andy,
Here.
Lindell.
Here.
All right.
All right, time for us to cite our mission. So act as a
A
strong
strong advocate
to
for
justice
justice and equal opportunity by providing citywide
leadership
leadership and guidance
guidance in
in
the
the area of civil rights.
Civil rights.
So we'll we have to approve. We have to approve the minutes. Todd, usually there's like an asterisk there that we have to action required.
Yeah, I noticed that after I published it, I was like, oh, I didn't put the little star. This whole agenda should have stars all over it, right? Because it's all about like doing work, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, those need to be both approved.
Who moves to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve what we need to approve the February and March minutes, or is this March?
Well, our regular meeting in March and then our engagement community meeting.
Okay, then I'll do the regular meeting in March minutes.
A second.
All right, here comes the roll call. Sorry, I'm like fumbling with multiple screens here. Okay, Jessica,
I'll abstain.
abstain. Ernest,
Yes,
Jeanette,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Erica.
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Sorry, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Andy,
Yes.
Lindell,
Yes.
passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the community engagement meetings as written. Anybody want to second that?
I did. This is Jeanette.
Okay, great.
oh, gosh, I was about,
It's disagreement.
I don't know. All right, here we go for a vote. Jessica,
I'm abstaining.
okay. Ernest,
yes,
Jeanette,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Erica,
Abstain.
Andy,
Abstain.
and Lindell.
Abstain.
So it's not on the agenda, but I figured since it is a retreat that we'd have an opportunity to introduce ourselves and do a fun little icebreaker and just share one interesting fact about ourselves to one another. And I saw Ernest taking pictures. If he wants to come back on, we should do like an official screen snap here for the moment. Yay, there you are. So I'm just gonna count it down if we're all smiling faces. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll send that to you, Ernest. So I'll start off. You guys know me, but my name is Jessica Harris. I currently live in Palmyra. I have 2 minions. They are 7 and 9. I look forward to you guys one day meeting them. And a fun fact about me is that I love camping outdoors, and it's more glamping. And I didn't know it until I got older because my grandfather had an RV, and that's how we did camping. But I love camping. I love the outdoors. Who would like to go next?
I can go, Jessica. This is Erica. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I live in Charlottesville. I have 4 children. The oldest is 16, and then a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old, 3 boys and a girl. I am from the Charlottesville area. I was born in Pennsylvania, but been here since 1985. So consider myself a native for the most part. Fun fact, maybe not a fun fact, an interesting fact, and part of why I'll be a little quiet today is I just had my wisdom teeth out. So I'm my face is still swollen and I'm not feeling the greatest. So I apologize in advance if I'm a little quiet.
Okay, I can go, but I just want to point out that if you watch Andy, from time to time, his t-shirt changes colors. It's really cool. Sometimes it's red and sometimes it's like that turquoise color. So it's worth, keeping your eye on him. So I'm Mary Bauer. I have 2 kids, one who goes to Piedmont Community College, PVCC, and my son is a senior in high school at CHS, and he has decided that he's going to be attending Virginia Commonwealth University. So that's very exciting. And I live in Charlottesville. I'm the executive director of the ACLU of Virginia at the moment as my job. And a fun fact is that I lived in Panama and Colombia as a kid growing up.
I'll go next. I'm Wendell Von Schild. I was born and raised in Florida, the north part of Florida, which is really kind of the south part of Georgia, culturally speaking. I moved to Charlottesville in 1980. I have 2 children. They're both in their late 20s now. They were born and raised in Charlottesville and went through the Charlottesville school systems, except my son, who was homeschooled after after grade 6. Let's see, a fun fact about me. So in the late 70s and early 80s, I was a hardcore punk. I had a purple mohawk and I went to many punk concerts. The highlight of my music going career was when I was crushed against the stage at Joe Strummer's feet at a Clash concert and got his sweat on me. That was huge.
Love this.
All right, I'm Andy. Been in Charlottesville since 2002. I'm an architect. I work on my own. I have 3 kids in the city schools. Oldest is 14 and a 12-year-old. I have a 10-year-old who's in his last year at Burnley Moran. So really sad to be almost out of Burnley Moran. And let's see. What do I do? Just an interesting thing about me. I was born in Hungary. My family came over in the early 80s to the US, to the DC area. That's where I grew up. I'm not related, as far as I know, to the current Prime Minister of Hungary. I like to say Orban is common like Smith in Hungary. But anyway, my background.
Sound like Andy, you need to do an ancestry in me situation, man, just in case. Ernest Chambers, 2 kids, 20, I think 25, and 17, senior CHS, 25-year-old, got married, almost married 2 years now, back October 2020. Let's see, interesting fact about me. I'm going to do Lindell. So Lindell, you had some punk rock artists sweat on top of you. When I was 16, 17 years old, I went to a basketball camp. And I don't know if how many of you guys know the commentator, Dick Vitale. Okay, if you know Dick Vitale, you know, he's bigger than life. Everything he does is his, oh, man. So I'm at this camp. I'm at Old Dominion University, and Dick Vitale comes to me and he grabs me by my head and he's like, "You're gonna be the best ever, baby." And I got, and his sweat is coming all on top of me. And I'm like, "Yes, Dickie V, yes." So it was, so I could get with you with the sweat stuff and like, you know, it was funny. So that's the interesting fact about me.
So many of us been sweated on by celebrities. I love that. Hello, Wolfgang Kepley, they, them pronouns. I work for the Army, and I'm also a Pennsylvania transplant. So I've been in Virginia for over a decade now. I consider Charlottesville my home. Happy to be here. And my fun fact, I play various musical instruments. I sing, I play the violin, viola, guitar, and more recently, I have been learning to play the bagpipes. So it's very squawky right now, but like, maybe sometime it'll still be squawky, but like the squawk it's supposed to be. So very fun.
Awesome.
Like duly noted, it's going to be featured in our next meeting. That should be, we should have you playing when we're waiting for public comment.
Oh, that might get people to comment faster.
Yes.
Especially now.
Yes. Sounds like a plan. We are adding this to our action items for the rest of the year.
Because right now it does not sound good. Okay, great. Good plan.
I'll go next. I'm Jeanette Abby Nader, she, her pronouns. I couldn't figure out how to do the happy birthday background, but Ernest, I think you're out of this world. That's my my tie in there. Happy birthday. I'm the co-executive director of Cultivate Charlottesville, which is a local organization that works on building food justice in the area. And something about me, I come from a pretty big Lebanese family, immigrant family here, and I have 5 sisters, so 6 girls.
Has everyone gone? I know I cut out for a minute. So I missed Mary's. Darn it.
Jessica, I would like to give Victoria a moment to introduce herself because she was stuck in the attendees box for a little bit, but I think she's here now. So yeah, please.
Hi everyone, good morning. Could not figure out the birthday background either, but my name is Victoria. I now work with Todd in the Office of Human Rights in the role of Outreach and Administrative Specialist. I worked for 3 years at Sin Barreras. And a fun fact about me is I really enjoy growing onions. So I have a ton of onions in my backyard. You can really tell that this is a hobby of mine in the summer, but my neighbors have not yet brought it up as a bad thing.
Nice to meet you and congratulations.
Did we hear from Todd? We didn't hear from Todd.
Okay, yeah, Todd, you're part of this. Come on now.
Here I am. Good morning, everybody. So glad that you guys could be here. I couldn't figure out, I think I don't have permissions to change my own background. So happy birthday. And I also love that Jeanette keeps the space theme going because usually that's Jessica's thing. And I love the universality of the space background. So amazing. So anyway, I don't know, I've been here for quite a while, since 2002, something like that, in Charlottesville in the area. I have one daughter who's 9 years old, and she's really fun right now because we are doing such fun adventures together because our abilities are just expanding exponentially every day, it seems. Let's see, I don't know, what fact should I tell you? I also like music and played a lot of music and continue to play a lot of music. And I've been sweat on by people. I think the most recent one that was really awesome was when grew up playing a lot of like metal and rock in the 90s and was a huge Living Color fan. And they came to Charlottesville a couple of years ago, I guess, and played at the Jefferson Theater, which is this, tiny venue. So you're right there, which is awesome, right? And at the end of the show, they just like high-fived everybody. So like I got to just like shake hands with every member of Living Color, which was just a little bit like, and then they like sat down in the lobby and you could like walk up and talk to them, but I was too nervous, so I didn't. But I was like, wow, like I just like shook hands with the entire band of Living Color. So that's pretty awesome. That's my claim to fame.
I love it. Well, thank you guys. Thank everyone for sharing. I know we get on here and we do work and we're here to do good work, but it's nice to know a little bit more about you guys. And I've been working with some of you for a long time and didn't know what you did. So good to hear. And thank you guys for being vulnerable and sharing. I'm like hungry. I did not eat breakfast this morning and I'm eating the chips from our bag. So if you see me chewing, I was like, oh, I thought they would be plain. I'm like, they have flavor, they're tasty. So sorry, like once you pop, you can't stop. It's happening right now with me in this bag. So please don't judge me. So I'm gonna turn over the floor to Todd for the next 2 points with the preface that Todd came up with this great idea to review the work that we have done last year, to highlight our accomplishments, just to look back because we've done so much. Shout outs to Mary and Catherine for their leadership. highlight what may be still in progress, what we may need to say that we can't get back to. So Todd, I'll turn it over to you.
Right on. Thanks, Jessica. I know I won't, we won't go through all this point by point unless you really want to. I just wanted to make sure that you had some sort of frame of reference for all the amazing things that the commission has done in the past year and a couple of months. I mean, it's quite astounding. Most of this stuff is, I think all of it actually, the letters and so forth and written work that you've done is on our city website now, so the public can see it. They can get a sense of what you've been doing. And one of the things I didn't capture on here was probably the numerous city council meetings that that Mary attended and maybe others. I don't even know because I wasn't there at all those. So you've done quite a lot, and I think that it's important to see it in one place so you can kind of see the scope of your work, but also to take a look at perhaps what you want to continue to either expand upon and or pick up if we started something and didn't get to it. And I was, in going through it, certain things I thought, oh, didn't we finish that? And oh no, we didn't. It's because we've got so many things cooking sometimes that we go, oh, I still have to finish that project. And it's particularly like, for example, up in the top under the resolutions, like the language access plan, I was like, yeah, we finished that, didn't we? And then no, we sure didn't. We almost got there, and then we got focused on some other things. So examples like that are things that you may want to consider today when you're, trying to evaluate your priorities, where you want to put your energy. There's, I'll go down a little bit further, like, for example, in the community engagement area, we've been having that on our minds, the disability PSA project, right? Started by, I think, for those of you who've been on for a while, Phoebe and Melvin took that on back when they were on the community engagement committee. And then I think Wolfgang and Sue picked it up a bit, but again, it's one of those things where there's more to do, and it could be done if that's the will of the commission. And I see Mary's hand up, so I'll take a moment to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, in many ways, you sort of speak my mind. You're presenting it in a really positive way. But when I sort of think about the year that I was chair, my own like deep self-criticism is that we did too many things. We flitted from thing to thing. And often those were things that mattered and we wanted to respond. But I think we would have a greater impact if we sort of identified, a few big priorities and really, really like committed to seeing those through, even if other things also come up. And I don't think I did that very well, but I think it's a chance now to kind of rethink that and to try to identify like big important changes that we want to help lead and push along.
Ernest, I see your hand as well.
I was going to say, Mary, I thought you did a really good job because before you became chair, we were kind of in a very interesting situation. Coming from being with getting into the pandemic and then trying to get in front of city council. And then city council has so much going on with everything with the chief and all that stuff. And we were trying to find our footing, that whole time. So being able to even begin to put letters, because we were trying to figure out how do we make an influence? And we didn't know how we could make an influence. And the best way we only knew how was to write letters. So I think you kind of springboarded us into where we are now. So, I appreciate you doing, but I think, it was a springboard to where we are now. So that's how I kind of feel about that.
I appreciate that. I know Lindell's up next, but just want to say I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think what I would also like to say is that I think what you also helped us do or started us on a path of that I'd like to keep doing, that Jessica's really kept us going on, is doing two things at once. And I think we can, right? I think that we can respond quickly to things by having a committee that does that work. We have a process that we've created to be able to respond quickly. And we can have action. We can sit and we can listen to people as we did, and then come up with a plan of action. So I think we can do both, and I think we showed that we could do that. And I would say that we should continue to consciously adopt that model, right? That we're going to be both nimble and quick, and thoughtful and acting.
Yeah, I mean, everyone said it, Mary, but I'm for a person who's also very critical of themselves. I like personally want to say I've seen the shift in our commission into action. I think we were stuck for a long time. That's just not figuring out what we can do. And so when we found that we can write letters, that was really empowering. And it was a shift in in the commission. And I've affirmed that from hearing that from Todd. And so I just wanted to say, like, I personally don't feel what you've said to be true. I feel like we've done a lot of great things, and I'm fortunate to be taking on chair with what you have done. And so I just wanted to echo that to you. And I appreciate you for using your strength to push us forward and to bring action to our community. Andy.
So I think it might be worth looking at how the composition of the board has changed too. It feels like we have a lot more sort of commonness of direction than we might have had previous times. So I think it's helpful not to be kind of distracted by internal kind of issues that we've had in previous years. So I'm really thankful for the composition of the whole board right now, and the way that we're able to work together to kind of boost up the priorities that we have.
Lindell, did you have something still to say? Okay, Todd, were you finished going over?
Sure. I mean, I can just kind of wrap it up. Well, I would echo all those thoughts. I think that what you've shown, and I've been around for about 4 years now. Maybe it is 4 years. I can't remember, but I've been around for about 4 years now, and having watched basically 3 full commissions evolve during the time that I've been here, working under Charlene, and then now just directly with you, I really have seen that growth and that change in realizing what your power is and how to use it. And I think that you're developing it now, and what I'm really excited about with what Jessica is doing too is that you're now thinking about how do we engage the public directly. Like the town hall, I think was an exceptional experiment that we hadn't done before, and it turned out really, really good. And I think that we've gotten some really great feedback from that. Like those minutes are very valuable. What you gathered from the public was amazing, and it's even fostered connections that I've started to pursue through the office to serve individuals, because some of the folks that attended, I didn't even know. So just to kind of again, give kudos to the fact that you're realizing what you can do. And I think that's going to continue to evolve. And I think we'll also be able to talk about how to pick some points of focus to develop goals and then strategies and actions around those, but then also utilize what you developed in your resolution around action between meetings to tackle those big community issues that just pop up when you don't expect them. So I think you've got this. You've got tools. It's really cool. Jessica, do you want me to move on to just talking about data from the OHR?
Yes, please.
We're gonna save you guys so much time. You're gonna be out of here by lunch, and it's gonna be amazing. So I will not bore you by going through all of the minutia in those numbers, big colorful charts, again, as you've become familiar with. Did go through the data, checking it out, got a lot of it up into our department scorecard, not published yet, because I still have to make sure I don't have any errors in there, which will all then feed into an annual report for 2021. Not happening before this meeting, but making progress. But I did want to go through there. If you'll notice after the colorful charts, I tried to capture some of the takeaways that I wanted to make sure you were aware of, which may influence how you plan. It's certainly influencing how I think about what we're doing at the office. So first of all, I'm on that key takeaways page, which is, I guess, page 27 of the PDF that I sent you with the agenda packet. But I think one of the most important things to note is that the incoming contacts just keep going up. Ever since we opened the office in 2021. So for a while there, we were closed, right, for pandemic. We opened in June when Jenny and Lily started as interns. And not long after that, the number of daily contacts quadrupled. And it continues to be high. I haven't looked at the 2022 data yet. We're pretty close to up to date, thanks to Lily and Victoria as well, also entering data. But it's continued to be really steady. I was sharing with Lindell that, unfortunately, Victoria is out the next 2 weeks because she has to quarantine because she had a close contact with somebody with COVID. And I miss her immediately because we had a moment the other day where we had 3 people at the door at the same time and 1 person in the office. And it was like, how do we help all these folks that are coming? So just the key thing for me is that I think contacts are going to continue to rise, especially as you all engage the community, as Victoria develops an outreach plan and we do more service-oriented outreach. The more people know about us, the more they're going to come. And there are some pretty intense things going on out in the community right now that people are seeking assistance with. So if there's a thing I wanted to give you on that is that we need to make sure that our office has the capacity to handle those individual things. And especially when we get formal complaints. Right now, what I'm seeing is, most of what comes in the door is not a formal complaint, but it takes a lot of time. And what that means is that if we're busy sort of triaging what's coming through the door, all the investigations, and I think I have 8 going right now at the same time, which is a lot, those kind of get put by the wayside. So I really want you guys to think about if we want to continue to focus on the individual service, we're going to have to advocate to council for what we need staff wise. And from my perspective, in terms of the structure of the office, it's 2 things, right? You'll notice in the point 1 about the incoming contacts, we need somebody to make sure that they can handle all those intakes as an intake counselor and screen for what the problem or concern that the person's bringing. But I think we also need to have an investigator on staff, because right now we're kind of relying on Ashley to be staff for the Office of Human Rights in the sense that she has to render judgments on the investigations, because I cannot. If I'm the investigator, and right now, as you'll note in the data, we had 11 new complaints resulting in formal action in 2021. All of those have to be either mediated or investigated. If they don't reach mediation, they go through an investigation and somebody has to render a judgment on those. And right now that's Ashley, and Ashley has plenty on her plate. Just again, I think in terms of thinking structurally and what you can do in terms of advocacy for the office, that idea of maybe adding an intake counselor person, that would be ideal, but maybe secondary to adding a full-time investigator so that we can hold all the parts of the investigatory process in the office and don't have to pull on Ashley for those things. So other things to note, race and disability continue to be the highest or the most commonly identified protected classes in all inquiries and complaints. No surprise there, that's been that way. Given our culture that is white supremacist dominated, that is not to be so surprised at all. So just knowing that when we get complaints, most of them continue to be with regard to housing, both complaints and inquiries. Right now, I'm seeing a lot about questions about emergency housing. So while that's not a protected thing that we're dealing with, we're also seeing discrimination perhaps in emergency housing. So I've got complaints around that as well. So we have to think about that maybe moving forward and where you focus your advocacy. What else can I tell you about this? Also the piece that we're trying to work on with the FAP, which is a big, huge project. That ordinance, if you haven't looked at it recently, I think I have emailed the most recent iteration out, but it keeps morphing as I talk with city attorney and other offices to try and narrow down what we're going to try to present to HUD and council first of all. But that is the success of that FAP partnership is really going to be contingent upon our demonstration of council's commitment to it financially and our ability to have the staff to handle the workload. So I just want you to think on that. Like, again, we'll definitely need another investigator and we'll potentially an intake counselor to help us manage that workload and make sure that we're fulfilling our obligations under that work share. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for now. I mentioned employment as still being the second most protected, common protected activity that people bring to us, but I still feel like the FIPA thing is kind of outpaced right now by the FAP, the need for a FAP, and to pursue work around housing. And I can talk more about what we're seeing sort of on an individual basis in terms of trends, but and why that may be happening. But that's kind of where I stand with it for now. So I'll be quiet and just let y'all give me some feedback.
So I think we should, if you need more staff, I think we should advocate to get you more staff. I said that last time. But I think we should spend time like looking at what's pending and before we move forward, because the next intentions for the strategic planning is for us to come up with those focused points that like what Mary was saying, and really be strategic about what we're focusing on. The workload moving forward is the plan, what that section is about. So I would like to pause in this moment and just go over what Todd has discussed. And I'd like to hear from all those that would like to share. I think for me, it'd be helpful, like of the pending things, like, kind of a brief discussion of what we need to do to continue them on. Like, for example, I see the GREET NSBP conference. I would say, yes, like we should do that. It's just a matter of like knowing when they're coming and all of that. But anyways, I'd like to go through that. And I don't know how and what the next steps are, but I think for sure, Todd, we should have it on top priority and in our action planning that we get you another investigator. So I will hush and I want to hear from everyone else. I'm sorry, I have to call people. Andy,
Yep.
Sorry, I heard you.
Okay. So Todd, what's the status of the FHAP agreement? Is the city attorney reviewing it, or what's the status of where the rewrite is?
Yeah, great question. So where it sits is I submitted a draft to city attorney's office for kind of a legal review. Had a couple of work sessions with Allison to go over it line by line. We made some more edits. She gave me a pile more questions to ask, some of which I asked of the only other municipal human rights office that has a FAP, which is Fairfax. Talked to Kenneth Saunders up there about how they're doing some of the things, because one of the big questions was, what were the obligations of the city attorneys or the municipal attorney's office when under the FAP, and to sort of get a sense of how that workload increase kind of affected their office. So that was useful, but I still have a bunch more sort of technical word questions and other things to ask Eric Steinecker. If you all remember him, he came to the commission to talk about the FAP agreement. Was very informative. He's a HUD fair housing attorney. So that's where it lies right now. I think with the current focuses in the office and other things, it's gotten on the back burner. And so I think we're at the stage where once I can get through this annual report and kind of get that off and Victoria's up and running, I think that's the next big focus for me on the sidelines, is to try to get through those questions with Eric and then present you all with and the city attorney's office, obviously, with a revised draft to say, are we ready for adoption? I think that the key consideration here is that it's kind of a cart before the horse kind of thing. You pass an ordinance that says you're going to do all this stuff, and as soon as you pass that, that's the expectation. And if we're not prepared staff-wise, either in the city attorney's office or the OHR, that could be a problem. So I really think that merits some serious discussion with council and city attorney's office to say, what do we need to equip ourselves with prior to the passage of this amended ordinance? So.
I saw Ernest and then Wolfgang.
So the 1962 contacts, you said that's been since you reopened the office in June 2021?
Good question. So that's all since January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. But the key point I was trying to make there was that, say in the months January through May-ish, before I opened the office again, we're talking about 3 or 4 a day. And then in the months following that, it doubled like immediately and then quadrupled after that. So we're up to like average of 12 incoming contacts a day once the office was open. So that spoke volumes to me about accessibility in terms of when you're in person and people can find you, you get more contact.
Okay. Ashley Marshall's our deputy city manager. So my question on getting staff to be an investigator is, was that what we talked about before? Needing that $75,000 to, so that's to get another investigator. That's what we need that money for.
I think that's about the total cost. I think you're right about that on the figure. And
So okay.
we put a petition in. Ashley actually helped me put that into council, but it didn't get funded for fiscal year 2023. So that means
Okay.
budget that starts July 1st of this year. But I think that's all that is to say, we keep preparing and getting ready. And then, say September comes around, be ready to say to council, like, this is important. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think that's also the importance of getting the CY 2021 annual report done so that council can see the numbers as well.
Oh yeah, and if nothing else, keep those list of contacts. It's also, we keep saying, hey, this is how many contacts he's having, and he's having people that are at the door waiting. I got 3 in here, 2 or 3 at the door. So we need more help. So I think the more we keep that in front of them and say we having contacts and those other things, hopefully they can see the need and will help meet the need.
Wolfgang.
So Todd, the question's for Todd. I'm also happy to provide an update on the 2 pending items that I kind of spearheaded last year. If folks want that, so thumbs up, thumbs down, question, thumbs up, okay. Language access plan, I think we voted on it. It's on its official letterhead. I think all it needs to be is signed by the chair. I think maybe we approved it when there was a chair transitions. I think it's ready to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, just be taken to council.
I was looking in the minutes and it was kind of
I
confusing.
thought it was already read.
We approved the plain language resolution, but I don't know that we actually approved the language access plan. I'm going to look it back up. You could be right.
Yeah, we voted on it twice. Once before there were revisions.
Yes.
And then I was like, hey, maybe we should do a somewhat substantive revision on this one thing. And then we voted on it again. And it's like, it's ready to go. I thought it was already like taken to council. So that is easy, hopefully easy lift.
Yeah, so that could be a really easy lift. I'm going to go back through the minutes because I was getting lost, and there was one point where the plain language plan got called the language access plan in 2 different spots in the minutes, and I was like, wait a minute, oh, we made a mistake there. I have to go find it and figure out which month that was, but you're probably right.
And maybe there is one more step that we should do, because I know Lindell and I talked about writing a plain language version of the language access plan, which we have not done yet, and that might be beneficial as a next step.
I will actually do that if somebody, or at least take a shot at it and pass it around for everyone to work on.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with you on that.
That sounds good. Let's do that. Do we have a copy? Who has the latest copy of that?
I think it's in the box.
I have all that stuff too.
Okay, it's in the box. Okay, thanks. I'm going to make a note in my calendar to email you. And thank you for sending that packet.
So a side note, since we're talking about plain language, I do see your comment, Jeanette, about maybe revisiting this today and voting if we need to. So one thing we did have planned that we wanted to have for this meeting was the right to be to come and talk, and that just didn't work out. And so I think it'd be nice to have a speaker come in and talk about plain language. I know it's something we have adopted and it's the direction we're moving in, but Lindell has a contact with one of the persons who's spearheading this effort, Shelly. And so if you guys are okay with it, like I've asked to potentially invite her for our next meeting in May, just to have a conversation. Because I think we're doing it. It'd be great to talk to the person who's really in it and pushing this forward. And so just letting you know that is moving in the background.
That would be great.
So,
and then the disability PSA project, I reached out to the previous contacts. One person responded. I reached out to everyone multiple times. Only one person responded. I reached out to ARC the Piedmont and Independence Resource Center. They said they would get with their folks, see if anybody was interested in participating. I followed up multiple times. No one responded. So it feels like the inertia has stopped pushing it forward. We can push harder on it, but it seems like what was something range prior to the pandemic is no longer a project. And I have stopped asking the same people over and over again if they're interested. So that's unfortunate. And I did have a question for you, Todd. That's my second part, which is the part about emergency housing. You said there's more complaints regarding to emergency housing. I know that in our town hall, we talked about the definition, if we're using it sort of as an umbrella term or more specifically. I'm curious, kind of the complaints about emergency housing, are they transitional housing, supportive housing, shelters, just kind of what is the nature of the complaints that you're seeing?
Thanks. That's a good question. And I should say complaints, but also lots of discussion and inquiries about it. So how to frame this? So I don't, and obviously I don't want to say too much because these are especially formal complaints. I want to maintain the confidentiality of both parties. But what I'm seeing is complaints regarding just let's say housing discrimination on the basis of disability. We'll put it at that. And when I say disability, I'm talking about from what I'm observing and what people are self-identifying, mental health. Okay, so behaviors that arise out of perhaps an untreated mental health condition, as articulated by the complainant, and sometimes coupled with substance use, unsupported substance use recovery. And so what's happening? So this speaks to a broader systemic issue, which is why I really want you all to think about this and maybe how you could take action on it. Is that we're looking at a care system right now, let's call it, because that's the sort of term of art, is continuum of care, right? When we talk about provision of services for people who are currently experiencing homelessness. And what's happening is there's a shortage of beds for emergency shelter. And by emergency shelter, I'm referring to both congregate shelter, like when Patram houses people in churches, which is temporary, it's not year round. So there's shortage of year round shelter, both in the congregate setting, also in the sort of individual room setting, like Premier Circle, or the small multi-person room setting at the Salvation Army. But those are the three emergency housing things that are available right now. It's not meeting the need. If you go walk on the downtown mall at any point, you will see there are people sleeping everywhere because the need is not being met. But that is coupled with the fact that our emergency housing system is not, we're not coupled closely with mental health supports and substance use recovery supports. And that's because there is inadequate service provision in those realms as well. If you ask Region 10, they'll tell you we have lots of open positions for clinical mental health providers as well as case managers, and we've got no people to fill those positions. But that said, there are other providers potentially out there that could fill that void if there were funding. We're like 37th in the nation if you talk about state funding for mental health. So that's a good indicator of maybe part of the reason why we're struggling. And so if you think about what does that mean for the commission, right? You think about you have a duty to provide legislative guidance to the council, like in terms of their legislative agenda that they lift to the General Assembly through the planning district, and advocating for increased funding for mental health services is one way you could do that. So as an example, but at the council level as well, you could also talk about what are we hearing from the community, and maybe I can share a lot of information with you about the dialogue that's been happening in the community about housing, but what are we hearing from the community that could fill the void in terms of our emergency housing needs, and then also are in the longer term deeply affordable. And I say deeply affordable, like less than 30% AMI income, affordable housing for people. So those are the kinds of things I'm thinking about a lot right now, and that's what's coming through the door, either as an inquiry or a complaint, or in the public dialogue in the circles that people keep inviting me into. So did that answer your question? That was a very long answer, but I don't know if that was helpful. Oh, and as a follow-up, yes, we did pass the language access plan, it looks like, in December, in the December regular meeting. So you are 100% correct. And we just need to get that signed. So I think you're right. We were in between chairs. And so Jessica, you have something to sign. I will make sure that you get
Hey, I'll do it. No worries. I like this. The next pending was the legal representation for parties to a complaint. This was a resolution that we passed, Todd, sorry.
It was a point of discussion and we tabled it for a while, and it is still an active thought in my mind, at least. And I don't know what commissioners think about this, but for example, when people present a complaint, often one person has much less financial advantage than the other. Typically the respondent has much more capital to work with, oftentimes has legal representation or access to it through their insurance or otherwise. And so what happens is when people enter into mediation, or if perhaps something lands in your laps for a public hearing, the complainant has lots of questions about what they should do. And as an investigator or director, I can't, and not an attorney, I'm not going to give people legal advice. That would be bad. So often what happens is I am trying to find people pro bono counsel so that they can get legal advice. And I have to throw out some kudos to working with Kristen Clarence over at Legal Aid Justice Center, because through the Virginia Volunteer Lawyer Program, not through staff attorneys, but through volunteers, I've been able to get sometimes representation and mediation, which has been very successful. But there's usually only like 1 or 2 attorneys that you can find that have the flexibility to do that. We're also now creating kind of a program where we have a group of law students to do legal research under the supervision of a licensed attorney. So sometimes people have legal questions. So law students do the research, present it to the attorney to make sure that they did it right, and then we can provide that to the complainant or the party that requested it. But it is sort of a system that hangs by a thread, and it is difficult. We're seeing to find enough support for the number of people who want the assistance.
So thanks for the recap, Todd. So outside of recommending them to like legal aid and other attorneys in the area that will be able to do this work, I guess, what is the request? What is within our power as a commission that we could do? I guess, what's the ask or the action item for us?
So if you take a look back at that draft resolution, that's a great question. The draft resolution proposes a skeleton program to present to council to establish a fund so that parties to a complaint could actually pay an attorney to provide legal advice. I don't know if that's the best way. I've talked to other offices of human rights and state, nobody's doing it. But it is another mechanism by which we might be able to increase access. It's again, it's one of those things where take a look at that resolution. It needs to be chopped up, dissected, rethought, all those things, but it exists. So it's something that if this seems like a priority for commission, great. If again, I'm finding other ways to try to meet the need at the moment. But yeah, to sort of weigh that against the other priorities that you might uncover in this discussion. That's all I'm asking.
Mary.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think it's really important that we do this advocacy because it's sort of begging people to do it for free is okay, but maybe not like sustainable if the number increases. And because it's important, I just want to link this back to our advocacy for representation for tenants in eviction proceedings, which I think it's not the same issue. Obviously, this is sort of more directly like related to our work, but I still think that issue is really important, and I think the ultimate kind of resolution by council on that point was really disappointing and almost disingenuous in the way that they talked about it as like, oh, we're doing this thing. And then they ended up funding like such a tiny amount that it just, I didn't really understand how it sort of jived with what they were publicly saying. So I guess I would just advocate that we continue to talk about both of those issues, because I think they're related and they're really important.
So Todd, can we add the legal representation for parties to complaint, that resolution, in our next meeting, or can you, and then prior to that, like sending it out to us so we can review that, and that could be a point of discussion for next meeting. The same with the right to counsel for eviction. So where are we with the you talked about that disability project. Commemoration of days honored. Is that what we were talking about with Ashley when she presented us the list of, so we provided her our feedback. So where is it left, I guess, on our end?
Yeah, and I suppose this is more of a question of, is this a direction that the commission wants to go in terms of like perhaps partnering with Ashley to make some plans around, or give more advice as to which of those days to honor. And I know the commission was very specific about what it wanted to do with regard to the events of August 2017, right? And there was a letter that I think was written for sort of stating a position and kind of making a statement about that. But with regard to her big list of days, I don't know if we ever came to anything conclusive as to what the commission wanted to do with that and how it wanted to partner with the Office of Ready. So
I thought that we did, but I thought that we said, yes, we wanted to do these. We wanted to do it in a thoughtful way, that we were doing it in an informed way. So we weren't just highlighting days, but that we were doing knowledge. It was a matter of, I just thought it was a matter of like, we provided our feedback. Yes, we wanted to do it. There was questions about funding and who would be taking like the lead for this. And you mentioned there is no funding on this. And so my understanding was left that we provided, yes, we wanted to do these, but I could be wrong, Jeanette.
I thought there was also the question of social media. Like we were talking about this when we were wanting to have our own account where we could post on, but that did not happen, right? So we don't have that Facebook account. So would it be up to Ashley then, or you, to post on the city's account? Like, I think that's where I lost track of it. And then were we going to have like a list to look at next and discuss? I think that was an action item too.
yeah, it's a great question about social media. I think one of the things, it took us a long time to get all the city emails finalized. And so that was the first step. So we could revisit the social media thing. If you want to, we just have to talk a little bit about how that gets managed, who's going to oversee that, who's going to maintain it, all those kinds of things. But we could revisit it. I did find that there are like 2 Twitter accounts linked to the HRC, or Dialogue on Race and OHR. We figured out, Victoria and I, with some tinkering around, figured out how to get into them, but they're outdated by 9 years, something like that. So it's like, it's one of those things where if we start down that path, we just have to really be ready to manage it and be ready for whatever comes, right? Because it's free speech. So that's where it is. So we can revisit it if you want to. And if that's the platform you want to do, like the kind of commemorative work, that seems good. If you just have to go back and do that.
So I personally don't think it's a matter of like, if we want to get back to it, it's a matter of we were kind of waiting to know what we could and couldn't do. So I think it's maybe if it's okay with the communication, we just take this on and start planning and work with you, Todd, like offline in our ad hoc committee meetings. Maybe we set one up in the next coming months, just to, I don't know. I feel like it's not a matter of like, should we do it? We should do it and we should move forward with it. But I think a lot of these things are happening simultaneously and other things are going on. But if the ad hoc community engagement will take that on, I think we should. It's not a matter of if we should do it. We should do it.
I could just add that I think we also might want to look at priorities too. Like I think it would be great to honor all different holidays and events. And I would not want to put more work on the staff, given that there are so many priority issues on them. And so if it's not something we can do independently and feel like we can hold as a commission, we might want to reconsider the importance of that particular function.
And just to make sure that the sentiment is clear, in putting it as a pending item, it was not, this is not sort of like an accusation, like you didn't do this, not that at all. It was more just to say that this was a thing we talked about, but we didn't actually kind of leap to any sort of conclusive action. So just to make your discussion points are perfect in the sense that you're saying now, like, well, what could we do with this? This was presented to us. We kind of thought about it, but we haven't moved it forward. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
So I guess we can get into we'll get into priorities later. But I think overall, what I'm saying is we wanted to have access to social media so we could post more. And as we're putting out like plain language, and as we're putting out things, we have another venue than us as individuals putting out information. So that's more of the sentiment. I'm like, yes, we have social media account, we need to use it. Sorry, Todd, you iterated these things, but I'm asking you to remind me of them again. The HRC representation on Click.
Yeah, so we talked about it before. I attended maybe 1 or 2 meetings in the last year or so. Just it usually conflicts with something else on the schedule. But if for example, housing issues, as they seem to rise to the top in terms of the data, if it's something you want to be attuned to, it might be worthwhile to consider, does a commissioner, and not just Click, but maybe other things, right? Like maybe you want to attend FAR board meetings, maybe you want to attend HAC committee meetings or watch them. Just thinking about, do commissioners want to sort of take on some sort of responsibility of sort of engaging and or monitoring what other groups that are talking about similar things are doing, so that it informs your actions as a commission.
Todd, I remember that that we reached out to Click and they had like a kind of a specific ask. Do you recall that? I just remember they didn't want just like any of us to show up. I mean, I would be happy if the time, can't remember exactly what time they meet, but I'd be happy to be one of the folks who attends. But I remember that they had some specific ask, and I just, can you remind us of what that was?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a kind of a curious ask. In my recollection is that they were sort of, they were stating that I think they wanted people of color on their committee, and which is kind of complicated, because I think that there are like a variety of people that could probably contribute to and share knowledge and lived experience on that committee. But that was their articulated thought. Second Tuesday every month at 5:30, said Jessica. That's good. Is it still that? Okay, good. Looks like that's in the chat. I get
on their website, so I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the question would be, is there a way to engage if you're not officially on it, but still want to participate so you can keep track of what's going on? That might be something to think about. That's all.
Yeah, I hope to talk about this more too when we go to our strategic planning, but I would like us to be representative at other commission meetings, and if we can strategically do that so it's not all on one, persons or me or Ernest. And Mary, thank you for volunteering for this. I think it would be helpful. So what is the FY23 commensurate dates?
Those are the commemorative days that Ashley had presented. You talked about that already.
So what's difference in that note from the commensuration of days honoring?
I'm on a different screen now. Let me go look at that real quick and I'll see if I know what you're saying. What you are looking at is a typo at 10:30 p.m. last night, probably.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't see it.
Thank you for calling that out. I was like, yeah, what is that?
No worries. And so I know we briefly, Lindell brought up like us greeting NSBP conference again. I mean, a member of this, so it's an NSBP, a National Society of Black Physicists Conference. They're held annually. They've been planning for years to host their conference here in Charlottesville. And so it's a really big event for the conference, and I think also an opportunity for us here within the city. And so are we still in agreement that we'd like to bring greetings, meaning we would go and maybe formally meet them when they arrive, send an official letter just supporting this effort is what I was thinking about it. But Lindell, yes, of course, you've had more direct contact with coordinating this event directly with NSBP. So yes.
Yeah, no, actually, I just wanted to say that I do have the date. If I don't know if we've talked about that before, but I do have the actual date now. November 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So that's Sunday evening, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And they will be, the NSBP will be taking over downtown, pretty much all the hotels. They're planning to get gift cards for the students to buy food on the downtown mall. So we need to do things like coordinate with the restaurants on the downtown mall. So there's a lot of work that I don't know if any of us want to do, but if anyone is interested in helping with that piece of it, that would be kind of cool as just sort of an ambassador role. But we've got other people that can do it. I just didn't know if people wanted to be involved. And then so we are wanting to work with school kids. So if anyone has an in there, I would appreciate that contact. Because they're going to bring a lot of students in, undergrads and graduate students, who would love to be in the Paramount with kids, showing them cool STEM stuff. So that's the idea. We'll have the Paramount for 2 or 3 days. And a lot of that time will be open, and we can bring school kids in to meet with the scientists. So anyway, there's lots of cool stuff. If anyone's interested, let me know, and I'll make sure you.
Has there been any contact with school principals or anything?
Not with principals directly. I've just reached out. The only person I've talked with so far, that I've been able to talk with so far, is Bernard Hairston. So if anyone can get somebody to come and talk to me, that would be awesome. Ernest, if you're interested, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on the city's website now to see if we're even in school that Monday and Tuesday, because we traditionally miss those days because of election.
So
we
is that
usually,
election? Whoa, that week.
Is election that Tuesday? Because if it is, then we'll be out. We will be out of school on that Tuesday, and probably that Monday as well. We usually miss Monday, Tuesday with teacher work days and stuff, because our schools get used for elections.
Absolutely. Wow. So do you think that would mean we wouldn't, that would be impossible, or might it actually be a good opportunity?
It's not impossible. It's just it'll come back down to parents.
Right.
Have to get kids to activities. So if you have someone down in the pavilion. Say again. Yeah. So if you have someone in the pavilion, then and we can push it that way. We can say, hey, here's an activity for your kids to do. If you're looking for activities for kids to do on those days, then here's something on the pavilion with da 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 da. We just can't guarantee numbers. If kids were in school, we could kind of more guarantee that, but them being out, we can't guarantee numbers and stuff. So, but I'll help out as much as I can. We're getting the word out and help you meet with folk that you need to meet with to engage. Pretty interesting. My neighbor has been building a wind turbine ever since he moved here from Michigan. And I've seen it evolve from one thing to another. As a matter of fact, if you look on the front page of the Daily Progress, from yesterday, I think it was, you'll see this big green wind turbine thing that the guy's looking at. I think that's his, that this other guy's talking about. And it's pretty cool to have a wind turbine, and it's got it kind of the wings of it flip like this, so it doesn't overspin and all. Anyway, I think it'd be kind of cool to have them over at the house to say, hey, look at this. But anyway, since I will do what I can to help out.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. If it's okay with you, I'll just reach out to you separately and see, maybe do a brainstorming. Thank you. And thank you, Eric. I see your great ideas too. Thanks.
Yes, Jeanette.
You might also want to, like, this isn't necessarily an HR Human Rights Commission thing, but you might want to reach out to one of the counselors and have a proclamation read early that month, like that welcomes them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thank you.
And I know this sounds so silly, but it's like, I don't know, when it comes to like us coming together. So we wanted to like host NSBP students for like a dinner. Like we say, like we're not sponsoring because we're not paying for it, but we're like, hey, we'll meet with you. We'll be on the downtown mall at X restaurant. Come meet the Human Rights Commission. Is that something that needs to be like posted? Is that something we can do? Is there a limit of how many people can come together? Like, is that a possibility?
So it's a great question. No, that like, oh, we're gonna mess up with FOIA and get in trouble is always a good question to ask yourselves, because it's no fun to get. I heard that happened to some state public body on the news the other day. They forgot to post public notice, or they posted it on the wrong date. Anyway, so let's parallel the example to like VAHR, the Virginia Association of Human Rights, right? You can all attend a VAHR conference and we don't have to post public notice, because you're not discussing commission business. I think that is the key. Like if you don't like huddle in the back and like vote on something, then you're probably safe. But just being in a public space together with to celebrate something or enjoy an event, you can do that without a problem.
Yeah. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I kind of like that idea, as they're be taking over downtown, and they're gonna be looking for places to meet, and maybe have a nice idea to say like one of those days, okay, we'll be at some place and you can meet us. What do you think about that, Lindell? Or the other commissioners, do you guys like that idea? Are you guys just okay with the proclamation? What do you guys, Ernest?
I was gonna say that it seems, I don't want to be such a heavy lift, because it's like we got a lot going on, because we're trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do this. And I'd rather find out if we can be a partner with the city government itself in that aspect of, doing some type of meet and greet somewhere, in some aspect, happy hour or something, not knowing what COVID's going to be like at that time, in a space and what have you. I would say this. I know Live Arts owns a couple of, their building, as well as they parted in and are also using the vault, which is the old bank. And that's a pretty nice size space as well, that maybe we could do some type of partnership with city government to do something in a bigger space to do, instead of us trying to do so many things, because we're trying to coordinate this, trying to coordinate that as well. So it'd be nice to kind of involve city council and as well as other city leaders in this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I have been talking with Ashley, Sana has also been really keen on being supportive of this. So the council knows about it. Ashley is aware of it and has said that she would help us organize from a city perspective, what the relationship would be with the city. So yes, so thank you. We will be doing all of that. And I think at the very least, we're going to have a booth. The city will have a space in which people can just come and hang out if they want to, and talk to students. And so anyway, there will be other opportunities lots of different opportunities. But it would be nice for the commission to be, seen in some way, to be determined.
Okay, we're hanging on this longer than I thought we would, but it's all good. But I do want to hold to trying to get y'all out of here at lunchtime potentially. The only last one, if I'm reading this correctly, is, are there any other points on this? I'm sorry, I just moved on. Any other points on? Okay, so the other is amendment rules and procedures to Martha rules. And so we had an action item, we're needing to vote with that. And Catherine was going to be taking some of that on. So she emailed us. So I think that can be on our May discussion for approval, unless there's other debates or discussion around this. Okay. Thank you, Todd, for this. It's good to see where we've done and be able to reflect on this, all of these things. So we had a brief discussion for in person. So it was just more of a discussion because Todd let me know when we were preparing for this, that this would be our last potentially virtual. And so in full transparency for me, like I'd like to discuss potentially times, because I have to come all the way out to Fluvanna to pick up my kids to make it back to the city. I'm also probably going to be bringing my minions with me. So just kind of want to talk about what this would look like. And even as I was planning some of what we were thinking about, like ad hoc committees, like it also means our ad hoc committees would be in person. And so that changes, it changes everything for us. I just wanted to have a brief discussion about that.
So it's official. From after this, we have to meet in person.
So that is more like the buzz that I've been hearing.
Okay.
I don't mean to put Remy on the spot. He may know more than I do in terms of what's coming down the pike. Remy, do you mind commenting?
We're sending out a formal email on Monday that'll kind of explain everything and how it's going to work. So I don't want to necessarily say something now that's going to be contradicted later, but the gist is basically that I believe most boards and commissions will be given the option of either meeting again in person, or you can continue on Zoom, but without our assistance. We're going to be giving like some training on that, I believe, for people, but yeah, that's the basic gist of it.
Thank you, Remy, for allowing us to put you on the spot and answer that question. I appreciate
No
that.
problem.
I know it's ever evolving, so yeah.
I
do have a question. I do have a question on that, Remy, before you leave. What are the restrictions? Are there any restrictions on that meeting? I know that City Council met, I heard City Council met the other night, and they're doing a lottery as far as who can be in the space. So
right. I'm not positive. I'm not positive on council's decision on that front.
Okay.
Like I said, there'll be a lot more clarifying in the coming weeks. You will know soon, probably before your next meeting, like what is happening. So yeah. Okay.
Because I just wanted, because I was going to ask Todd, what spaces do we have access to meet? Because I know a couple of places that we've met before, we were pretty tight compared to like if we met a city space, which is much more open and
yeah. I want to say a lot of people are being given the option of using city space, which I think that just comes down to like scheduling as far as, but the cool part with city space is if you wanted to do some sort of hybrid with Zoom is already integrated into that space right now. So there's that. And there's also ceiling microphones that pick up everything. There's a microphone built into the tiles right now, and it picks up everything in the room. And when I say everything, I mean everything. You cough, you scratch yourself, you'll be able to hear it. So
thank you. That's a little more than I need to know. So yeah, so it seems like for us,
yeah, the short answer is city space is an option that is being given to a lot of people. Again, I don't I don't want to over promise because I don't know what council is saying right now about the specifics of who can use it, but yeah, city spaces is an option.
Okay, so, because I know for us, we just have to really find out what spaces are available for us to use. If
I want to
people
say the
say-
basement conference room is still an option. But again, I don't want to, somebody might contradict me on that, so.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Ernest, just to give you the historical perspective, City Space has traditionally been the primary meeting space of the commission since 2014. So I would hope that maybe they would honor that history a little bit and let you all have that space and I actually reserved it for the entire year of 2021. And of course we never got there, but yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see what the reservation system is now and then what they want to offer us. So I'm crossing my fingers because it is very convenient and is a nice space. So.
Yes, Lindell.
So I would just like to go on record because I have pretty strong feelings about this, right? I really strongly think that the virtual option or the virtual meeting space is really good, right? I think that obviously there are some challenges. Sometimes there are people who would really like to sit in a room together and eat together, and I get that, right? But I've also noticed that I went to many meetings in City Space where nobody from the public showed up, right? And we've had many meetings where people from the public showed up on the virtual space. Because I think it's easier. It's certainly easier for me. I mean, it is hard for me to get out of the house and go somewhere and sit in a meeting. It's really hard, right? This is so much easier. And I feel like we get so much more work done and we can hear from people. Having said that, I think it is kind of exciting to be able to do maybe a town hall every once in a while where we invite the public in, or we go to where the public is, right? And listen, we could try that as an experiment, but I would really love for us to stay virtual, really. That's just mine.
And Lindell, that also might be it's a matter of state law too, because I think that's one of the things I've heard kicking around. So, I think there's the option for maybe members of the public to still participate virtually, but I heard, and I don't know where it stands right now because I haven't looked out recently, that General Assembly basically, once they lift sort of the state of emergency or whatever, public bodies, members of the public bodies, so publicly appointed folks, have to be in person, which I know is super. I hear you. I totally hear you and feel you. And at the same time, it's like, what do we do if that's what they're telling us? So
yeah. But so I hear that if the law is the law, that's fine, and we'll work on changing the law. But
sorry, I was reading the notes while you were talking, Todd. And did you say that was maybe coming, not a law yet, but that might come? That might be a possibility.
Yeah, I'm speaking a little bit like in not knowing space because I've heard more chatter about it than I actually know.
But I heard Remy say it will be an option to virtual, so I'm just going to hold on to that. But Mary.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Can we just choose anytime we want to meet, or is there some obligation that we have to meet at a particular time because it's balanced with other commissions? Can we just make our own decisions about that? I don't really know.
I think it's helpful to make sure that we're kind of keeping an eye on what is the standing times for other boards and commissions, especially if you have members of the public that might want to attend both. I know we've had sometimes overlapped with the PCOB or council or something like that. And people are like, oh, I want to go to both, but I can't. So it might be thoughtful to do that, but I don't think that you're required to consider others.
Okay, thanks.
Any other thoughts, questions? Okay. All right. So do y'all want to take a 15-minute break or power through and then we can be done by 12:30? Do y'all need a break? Okay. All right. Let's take a break and be back. I can't do math really good, but at the moment, be back close to do you have your timer, Todd? Can you put a 15-minute timer for us?
I could try. It'll take me a second to go find that in my email.
I'll set Alexa and leave it on.
Thank you, Linda.
Todd,
All
I'm
right.
gonna join from another computer. Is that okay?
Yeah. All right. So see you guys in 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
Todd, do we need a roll call back or?
Wow, that's a brilliant question. I don't even know. Do we? We can. Why not? I have the sheet. Then no one can say we didn't.
Right. You know, I'm always thinking about you, Todd. You always keep us compliant and I always rather just
As far
make
as I
sure.
know. Yeah, let's do it. Or we'll wait till everybody appears to be back. I think everybody might be back. Here we go. If we're ready. Jessica.
Present and accounted for.
Excellent. Ernest.
Here.
Jeanette.
Here.
Here. Mary.
Here.
Wolfgang.
Here.
Erica.
Here.
Thank you. Andy.
Here.
Lindell.
Here.
We are official.
Woohoo! Now it's time for this part I've been waiting for. And I realized like I do not have on here what I thought we could. So is it possible? I know we've done this before. What I was wanting to do is share a screen and have like the whiteboard, but I realized I don't have that. Oh wait, yes I do. I do have the computer. No, I don't. I'm not host. Who's host? Oh, now I'm co-host.
There you have it.
Thank you, Remy. Yes, I could do what I was wanting to do. Okay, so for this next section, I know I'm glad that we had a recap. I'm glad that we were able to discuss like what we still need to do. A lot of that will be put on to just signing and approval for our next meeting in May. And so this section, for all of you guys, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Zoom, what I've shared now is a whiteboard. And what I would like us to do is like brain dump into this document. Either you can write or you can type your thoughts for our priorities this year with the idea of a few things. And so we know from, let me stop this so I could talk to you guys and without you guys looking at the screen. So, so one is that we've gotten advice from Counselor Payne that if there are concerns, if there are issues like affordable housing, like he didn't say what they had to be, but I'm just throwing an example. Like if we've heard, you know, from the public, we've done some amazing like town halls. We've now gathered information. I'd like for us to identify today things that we want to continue to bring to city council. So I know for sure we want to bring to city council, we need to get Todd another investigator, right? And so whatever those things we want to identify in this moment, right now, so I want us to brain dump now, like all of the parties we want the commission to do, with that being an example. So I'll use the example if we say we want one of our main focus with city council to be affordable housing. Depending on like what is needed for that, if there's other resource that needs to be done. Sorry. I'm not talking to you, Siri. If there are further research that we need to do, I know Todd has been a part of a lot of different conversations. And so there may just be a matter of like gathering all that information and putting it into a concise place to boil it down to high level points to city council and then provide like, here's our recommendation for actions. And then we'll work, like ideally, I'd hope that we don't have to keep presenting it to them every week, but Counselor Payne did say if we need to keep bringing up every week, we can. And so I'd like for this meeting to kind of be in that vein. Right now, we're going to brain dump all of our ideas that we want to do, including like we want to do, I know I talked about, and there was some interest in it, like maybe potentially having our presence at local community events where we're just going and sharing who we are as commission. Once we identify our 3 to 5 major focuses at those community events, we can have flyers that say, hey, here are our focuses. We'd love to hear from that. Of course, if you have other issues, you know, just being better able to focus our commission, and so that everyone's clear and they can hold us accountable. Because what I often find frustrating personally is like there is so much happening in the city, and I know what our mission is and we want to do, but we're not in all the places, and we also are volunteering. We're doing the best that we can, and so this is a way for us to be clear. These are our focuses for the year. It doesn't mean that we cannot be responsive to letters that we need to. We can't be responsive to putting resolutions, but just saying like, these are our 3 to 5 focuses that we'll work on. And then after this, I'd like to know, like, once we've identified them. So I want us to brain dump. I want us to think big picture, big ideas. I also want us to think about like realistically, like what we're capable and able our individual selves to do. And then this will be successful to me if we walk away with action items next. I don't mean for all of them to be planned out. So if we do choose affordable housing today, that's going to be one of our focus groups. I don't imagine that in this meeting we're going to iron out all the things. We'll iron out more like, yes, an ad hoc committee needs to be put together. Who's going to be on that? And then they'll come forth with the steps. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay. Again, the spirit of this whiteboard is, I just believe in collaboration. I believe in getting all ideas on paper. And again, maybe we identify 3 to 5 now, and it sets us precedent for next year. So I just want to hear from everyone and type. Everyone can type on here. So I think the way to be able to make edits, you should have a bar at either the bottom or top of your screen where you could do text. I see what I'm typing there, and you guys can just kind of add in. So I'll give maybe 5 minutes for people to kind of add to this, and then we'll discuss. Sound good? Thumbs up.
Okay, I need guidance about how to do this. I'm sorry. Like I'm typing and nothing's showing up. So
do you see the bar that has like select, text, draw, stamp?
I don't have that bar.
I don't have that bar either.
Jeremy, am I the only one that has that bar?
I have it. If you go up into view options and then the third option down is annotate, that sets up the
bar.
Got it.
There we go.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, good. I know it when I'm on the other end, but I was like, it just automatically pops up for me. So thank you for guiding us.
I don't have an annotate.
But I've never used this before either.
Hey, Jeanette, I looked in the wrong place for it at first. There's like the view thing that has the little group of 9 squares up in the corner, but then up above, like if you push your pointer all the way to the top and you get to see that green thing that says you are viewing Jessica Harris's screen, there's another thing that says view options there.
Thank you.
Yep.
And also if you, also this works if you like an idea, you can do like a stamp and, but for right now, I just kind of want ideas, but if you see something and you like that, you can put a stamp next to it. If we have lots of stamps around that, then we'll kind of like prioritize with that.
I couldn't seem to stop leaving stamps. They're just like random ones all over the place. Excuse me.
You're universally supportive of everything.
Can whoever put the Catherine one, can you try moving that? I don't know what it.
I put it there, but I don't know how to move it. I'm really sorry. I would be happy to if I could figure out. That's how I think I ended up adding random stamps all over the place. I don't know how to move it.
What is it supposed to say?
It says it's over transitional housing, which is like separate. This was supposed to say Catherine previously raised the issue of what a city budget would look like that is truly equitable and whether we could play a role in that discussion.
Add traditional housing.
I'm trying to make my fonts work. Can we expand the board?
Yeah, I can try. Does it
I
expand
don't
it?
want to overlap. Yeah.
Wow, look at me.
Great. Oh, although I can no longer edit my thing. All right, that's fine. That's I got the point across.
And FYI, you can change your stamps too if you want to get fancy, but just letting you know. I don't know, I wasn't keeping track of time. Has it been 5 minutes, Todd? I don't know.
I wasn't watching either. I was just been fascinated, like watching what everybody's putting up on the board. I think you can be flexible with it, right?
Do we need more time, commissioners?
I think I do.
Okay.
By the way, I'm taking periodic screenshots of this and dropping it into a document so that we have a copy of it.
Also save it, Todd. I
Oh, you
plan to
can?
save it after.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. See, I don't know how any of this works.
I
It's very
got you.
fascinating.
I
I'm
got
so
you.
glad that you're doing
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I got you. Wolfgang, are you good now?
Yeah, sure.
No,
There's
I'll
always
give
gonna
you
be more things to do. No, I think I'm done writing down. I'm just like, what else could we do? But that like isn't gonna stop. So
Yeah.
I'm good for this exercise.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me time.
No worries. Jeanette, were you gonna say-
Any advice on how to delete? Like that arrow happened by mistake, but I can't figure out how to delete it.
I could try to delete it.
I did the undo. Oh, there you go. Oh, erase. Okay.
Yeah, if you do erase, it'll do it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so as everyone have their ideas on paper, I understand the importance of what we're doing, and so we need more time. I'm happy to pause to. Does everyone feel good to move forward, or do we still need more time? Okay, now this is going to be the messy part. Let me save this just in case I accidentally mess something up. Okay, so what I'd like us to do now, it seems like I kind of want to discuss each one. Does someone mind being just a note taker for me for a little bit, so we can see like what comes out? I'll try to kind of circle as we go around, but does someone mind being a note taker just for this moment? So as we're talking through, we can identify maybe like the top.
Yeah, like I can do that, Jessica. So just keeping track of the issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to go with kind of how I see it on my screen. I kind of want to hear thoughts. We don't have to decide in this moment, like what are 3 to 5. I can just keep thinking 3 to 5 because, again, Todd is so great at being reasonable and making us be focused. And so I think, 3 to 5 is probably the max of what we should do. And so like if we're a 3, like I'm happy with that too. If we're 2, I'm happy with that. But I just keep saying 3 to 5 because I like 5. It's my favorite number. But I also want to be reasonable about some of these are heavier lists than others. And so because I want to give room for those that wrote to maybe explain a little bit more about what their thoughts are. So again, I'll just kind of go with how I see it. So let me do one I didn't write it down. Okay, so each of us pick other city committees to attend and report back shared potential overlap of interest and work. Does the person want to put that down and like expand about that a little bit more? I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but and if you can, I guess for this part, because I can't, you guys only like 5 of you guys at the bottom bar. Now, if you could put stars around that, if you like that idea, if you don't, that's fine too, but just kind of get a sense of like how many of us on here are liking that. Do we know how to do stamps? So when you click on the little stamp, it's like either an arrow, a check mark, an X, a star, a heart, or a question mark. I think I'd like to know.
I don't think I'm able to annotate anymore.
Somehow it stopped?
Yeah, I guess for me, yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Let's move to chat, if that's okay. So this, we're gonna say this is number 1, Jeanette, if you don't mind. Number 1, attending committee events. Can we put the way we like it on a scale of like 1 to 5? Like 5, I really love this idea. 1, like not so much love this idea, kind of ranking in the chat, if you don't mind. So 1 to 5 of attending other committee.
The scale is like we should do it, or like we think it's
like
strategic importance
compared
to other things, or
it's more of interest, like your interest.
Okay, like I would do it.
Yes,
So we would do it.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Yeah, we should do this. Like
we should do it.
Yeah, we should do this. 5 for sure. We should do it. 1 is like it's of interest, but we shouldn't do it.
Okay, what was the question again?
Ernest.
Which one? I know.
Okay. No, I'm just picking with you. So we're doing this one here. Our interests. I don't know if we should do it, but it's like the level of interest. Like your level of interest of us doing this is really high, number 5, low level of interest is number 1.
Okay, that's all I needed. I just needed to know which one.
Yeah, I
and all
got you.
that. Okay.
Attending other commissioner meetings.
Gotcha.
And we're just putting a number in the chat, is that?
Yes.
Sorry, this is, this is really not very complicated, and yet.
It's complicated, I understand. I'm also doing this, I've done this before, but also adapting this per what you guys are able to do. Okay, so we have in the chat a 5, 5, 3, 4, 2, 2.5, and a 2. Todd, yes?
I just wanted to let you know that if you would like to briefly meet our two wonderful interns, they have just been joining us as panelists. So we could give them the floor if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead, Todd.
So I think I saw Lily join first. So maybe Lily can, if you want to show us your face and unmute. And sorry, I have a dog in the office, so you may hear that in the background.
We lost Lily.
Lily, are you there? I see you in the list, but if not, we'll pause and then maybe see if Jenny can join us.
It says she was connecting to audio, so maybe there's a delay.
Are you talking about me?
And you have both Lily and Jenny on at the same time. Welcome. Just wanted to give you a chance to say hello. Introduce yourselves.
Thanks for all your great work.
I think I may have been muted. Feel free to introduce yourselves and just say hello, because nobody's met you, I don't think, on the call.
Hi, I'm Lily. I've been interning since last June with the Office of Human Rights and working with Todd. I do a lot of the data entry.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I've also been here since last summer, but then I also shadowed Todd during my senior year of high school. So yes, nice to finally meet all of you in person. I usually do the minutes right now since I'm remote, but yeah, it's nice to finally talk to you like in live time.
Thank you both for all your work in supporting Todd. We so appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we're able to help him at all. It's been such a great experience.
Help has been tremendous. And it's also important to note they're both full-time students. And so they're doing this on top of the workload at school. And especially right now, because this is like the last few weeks of school, or maybe even close to the last week of school. So it's an intense time, but thank you so much for joining us a little bit today. Because I know, Jenny, I believe you're in another conference. Lily, you're probably studying and working hard as well. So thank you for joining us.
Thank y'all for showing up. So we're trying to figure out our priorities for this, and hopefully it'll make it easy for note taking. So we're using multiple different things. So I'm gonna keep going. Is that okay, Todd?
Well, Jessica, I don't think I have. Has everyone voted?
It looks like
Lindell,
it.
have you voted?
Oh, Lindell didn't vote.
Oh, she had to step away. Okay.
Okay, perfect. I think now everyone's voted. Did Erica vote? Okay, good. Okay. All right, next one. Too many little thingies up. I can't see. Okay. The next is fair housing testing through home housing opportunities made equal. Test local landlords for discriminatory practices. Again, on an interest, if we want this to be a focus, 5, you're really interested in this being our focus. Number 1, not so interested in this. And it's on a spectrum. So 3 is like you're kind of in the middle.
Can I ask questions about this?
Of course. Yes. I'm sorry. I meant to have someone, the person who put this down, elaborate more.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was like we would do the testing or we would invite home to do the testing, or I'm not
So-
entirely sure what that is.
I would just like to figure out how we could do this. This came up during the Virginia HRC meeting last month, that a couple different cities have invited Home or another organization to do to test their landlords for discriminatory practices, and it's something that we might be able to do. When I talked to Todd about it a little bit, it kind of seems like we would really a FAP agreement would facilitate that action, but it might be something we could do. Testing in partnership with a FIP or a different group. I'm just reading over Todd's email to me right now, but it could be something that we look into to see if our local landlords are, if there's any problems with that. So I'm rambling now.
Like this could be like one of our studies, potentially.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
It could be one of our studies.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. My other suggestion was figure out what our research project should be, so it's a great idea for that.
Sorry, yeah, I think I have to run because I'm in between meetings, but it was so nice to meet you all and happy birthday, Ernest. I'm not sure if it was today or like around today.
It's his birthday weekend.
Okay, yeah, party all night, party all weekend.
Oh my, those days are gone, but I'll try.
Okay, absolutely. So great meeting you all, and I will have these minutes done at some point before the next meeting, hopefully.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Bye.
I'm gonna hop off too, but it was nice to meet you guys and happy birthday weekend.
Thanks to both of you for all you do. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, Todd, I'll save I'm sure you can save the chat so we can have this too in there.
Yeah, we'll do that. Maybe Remy can help me with that. I always forget how that works
Okay,
too.
I can also save it too. And
Oh, you know how? That's so good.
Yeah.
You have to teach me someday if you don't mind.
I got you, Todd. I got you. All right. Has everyone voted? So I try to keep track of like all the things, but it looks like everyone has at least voted on that. Okay. The next is figure out what our mandate research project should be. Ideas include, okay, I don't have ideas. I do agree.
Yeah, this is me starting a thought and then realizing I didn't have the wherewithal to finish it, but I think we're mandated to do one a year in our current bylaws, and that's a big lift. But I thought we should at least talk about what that would look like and how we can weave that into the rest of our priorities for this upcoming year.
If it's okay with everyone, I'd like to basically pin this one. I think people are voting, but yeah, I agree. I was gonna go there, Mary. Yes, I was gonna say like, let's pin this particular one and come back after we figure out our focus priorities. Does that sound good to everyone? Okay, I just made that to be what that was. Commission committing to participate in one Right to Be webinar per year. I put that one on there. Webinars are happening every so often, and depending on your times and when they're available, it may not work for everyone, but just that we're committing, because we didn't get to do it together as a whole, and it seems like Lindell has tried several times to get them on board, but just something that we can participate independently, but then maybe we can eventually come together and talk about it, is what I was thinking for that. I know it's not part of our mandate, but I think the trainings are really important, like really good, and can inform the work that we're doing. And so this one wouldn't be so much that it's a focus as like one of our 3 to 5 focuses. It's more of we're agreeing to do training as part of like, what's the word? Our community, like us communally doing something and learning something together. But so yeah, I'd like to see your interest on this one. 5, you're really interested. 4, you're not so interested.
Again, my question, is this for us or is this for community?
This is for us to build common language together for us. Then that we can share what we learned to the community. And this would not be limited to any like specific right to be, like you could choose which one fits best, you know, for you. Yes, I like the idea of other trainings. Okay, so did everyone vote on this one? Okay, all right, next, transitional housing. Does someone want to expand on that one?
I was put up twice. I wrote it once, but it got covered up. And then someone else wrote it in green. I know for
I wrote
me,
it again in green, so because it got covered up.
Oh, thank you. I think that was something that came up in the town hall, as well as it came up on the night that we had the housing individuals came on. I think it was our February meeting, was transitional housing, people that were coming out of either jail or halfway house or something like that, trying to get into housing. So I thought that's something we should bring up.
Lindell, you had your hand raised.
I was just going to say that I agreed with Ernest. That was something that we've heard over and over again, and that was something that people came to us specifically about more than once. And it seems like it's well within our purview.
Okay, let's vote. Or not vote, but like not vote, but you know, put our interest down. 5, we're interested in this. 1, we're not so interested in this. And thanks, Jeanette, for putting like where we are in the chat. I think it really helps.
I missed this title, sorry.
It's transitional housing.
I mean, I didn't get it on there before everyone's rates.
No worries, we'll put it on afterwards. Yeah, agreed, Mary. I think what we will do, we can discuss. I'm just trying to get a good sense. This definitely, if I'm looking at the numbers right, this has definitely been one of our highest voted ones yet. So then what we'll do, we'll discuss later. Did we get everyone? Okay, it's a lot to keep track of. Okay, next, affordable housing.
That was me. Again, still trying to figure out what the definition is of affordable housing in Charlottesville, because we still have, a lot of people in low income that might say that it doesn't fit in that type of. So affordable housing, being able to live in Charlottesville and work in Charlottesville and eat in Charlottesville. So. Totally agree, Andy. Totally agree.
Just to chime in too, like wherever you land on these topics, let me know, because there's a lot of stuff I'm holding in terms of notes and information I can provide you, based on what people have been talking to me about as well.
I'm doing averages for you, Todd. I'll have that.
Thank you. And I lost my annotate. Does anyone still have their annotate? Does anyone still have their annotate? I've lost mine. I don't know where it is.
I have mine. What do we need to do?
Do you mind circling traditional housing and affordable housing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Gosh,
Yes.
that's really, that's very kindergarten, but there you go. Arr.
That's it. Okay. And the right to be. I think that's more, it's not gonna be action, but I think it's something I think that was interested in. And then we'll come back through with Jeanette's averages. Yes, Lindell?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that in terms of this affordable housing issue, that it's huge and it's really big, but it ties in with the transitional housing. One of the successes, I think, of the town hall, or the meeting that we had, was I was really blown away by how people connected with each other at that meeting, outside of us. And I think that we have a really potential role in facilitating those conversations in the future. And that could be a really good role for us, is to help connect people and create a space for that. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yes. And I added in so I just want to put, I know it'd be a long arrow, but Wolfgang, you can, the strategic planning with commissioners, I think that would kind of tie into this one. I think it's more, not necessarily, my idea was not a focus per se, like a number thing, but more of like, do we want to be more strategic and what does that look like? And this is a great example of what that could look like. Okay, let's keep going. Figure out mandate project.
I have to get going. My family's gonna leave without me if I don't hop
Okay.
off. So
Thank you.
will,
Sorry.
see you guys next meeting.
Thanks
No
for hanging
worries.
on. You
Thank
could.
Bye, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, bye, Andy.
Bye.
Okay, the next one I see is the city of Rochester, I can't say that word, offers simultaneous interpretation equipment at no cost to community.
I put this on here. I found this while doing research for the language access plan, and found that there are a couple other it's a human rights commission for the city of Worcester, Massachusetts, that offers simultaneous interpretation equipment. I don't know how much that costs. I don't know what the feasibility is of having such a thing, but I thought it'd be cool to look into it because they offer it as a service to the community. For any community organization, they can just show up, check it out, return it, and it'd be cool. So there you go.
So this one, if I'm wrong, this one sounds like it'd be great to do within your the accessibility committee. But yeah, we can vote on interest. Whose beautiful bird is chirping?
Sorry, that's me.
Love it. Just something like calming.
I mean, it's not my bird, it's just nature.
Oh, I love it though. Your nature is being loud. It's like, I'm here and you're gonna listen to me. I love it. Sorry, I need good vibes right now, so I'm taking what I can. Okay. Yes, thank y'all for bearing through this. Okay, Catherine previously raised the issue of a city budget would look like if it was truly equitable and where we should play a role in this discussion. I really like this idea. Mary, you put that there. Do you want to expand?
Yeah, I don't know, how much more to say about it, but I do like the idea of sort of looking at the budget from that perspective and what, like look at how we're spending, 10% of our budget on police versus how much money are we spending on other things. And it seems to me like our voice could be an important part of that discussion. I don't see like lots of people comment on the budget, but like to have sort of a consistent voice, like really looking at it through these kind of like equity justice lenses. I think that could be, we could play an important role there.
This one I put 3.8. I should explain that. I think this also could be like a good study one. It kind of falls in that other category of like a research project. So I intentionally made it a weird number for that reason. All right. Yay. Thank y'all for adapting on the fly with this. I really appreciate the flexibility. Charity around equitable treatment of residents by CPD still. Does anyone want to elaborate or add?
Yeah, so I put that in there because I think this is just a perennial issue that, things appear to quiet down. There's not like a lot of huge public outcry, but that doesn't mean that the inequities aren't still happening. They're just not getting attention at the moment. And so I don't know what we can do, but I would suggest that at the very least that we request information or presence from the Charlottesville Police Department at least once a year, to come and show up and tell us what's going on, and be prepared to answer questions from the community. Even maybe that's a town hall thing. Anyway, I just think it's something that we should facilitate.
I like that. Wolfgang, can you circle and maybe do a different color circle? Can you circle like the point about Catherine, and then the figure out mandate for research in a different color, and then like put them together, arrow them together? Yeah, thank you. I like the idea of them showing up once a year. So I'll put my 5. Yes, Wolfgang.
So thinking in terms of a mandated research project that looking at disproportional contact and disproportional arrest by CPD on residents could be a good research project. It would probably be a big lift in terms of getting that data and crunching those numbers, but I think it's something that we could look into.
Yeah, can you
or
add?
Something that civilian. That's also, I'm curious if civilian police review board is looking at what they've done on that already. And it could be an overlap for one of us to pick them as a committee to attend, report back, and check to see what they're doing.
I love that, Wolfgang. Can you add that to the actual worksheet and then tie them? Thank you. Okay, HRC staffing so we can have resources to do the work. Sorry, got a little aggressive there.
I second that.
I don't know. I don't think we need to elaborate on that, Todd. That came from my chest, deep within. You can tell.
I appreciated that. Thank you very much.
I think I added something similar. I don't know where it is now. I lost it. Where I'm on the screen. Okay.
I like the drawing. I don't know what they all mean, but I definitely like it.
My crazy mind understands it, Mary. The arrows mean like they're connected together, that they, like if we're doing the research, the researcher are in green. And so we haven't discussed like what research focus we wanted to do. And so we're just tying them together. So when we come back, we'll talk about them. The same with the red. The red are potential focused topics, but the transition housing and the affordable housing were very similar. So they should be pulled together as one big focus. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't want it to make just sense to me. Okay. Community engagement, attending planned events. I put that one on there. It's something that we have discussed before, that it'd be nice, like Todd said, his numbers when you're in person and they can see us, then we can have engagement with them. And again, I would imagine that once we have our 3 to 5 focus areas, we can then present this and be at community events and share and engage with the public directly, but being more strategic about that. And my suggestion would be, again, it's a detail, but we can talk about that a little bit later. This would be like very reasonable for us. If we said, yes, we're going to do community engagement, we would decide the number of engagements that we want to commit to each year. That feels reasonable. So that's my thoughts on that one. And Wolfgang, you had your hand raised.
Oh, sorry, it's an old hand. Taking it down.
And just to put a quick plug in, I know Victoria's been quiet during this meeting, but she's working very diligently on creating a sort of an annual outreach plan right now. And so just want to make sure that you know that could definitely work. What this community engagement piece could definitely dovetail with what she's planning.
Okay. Did everyone vote on this one?
A lot of fives. Do you want me to circle it in red?
Yes, please. Yes, you're reading my mind. Mary, did you get a chance to vote?
Oh, sorry, I didn't click the send.
Town hall discussions, I added that one. We've had two this year. Again, we've gathered a lot of information. I don't have like what the next one should be per se, but just throwing it out there. It could potentially just pin it under the community engagement, something that we can invoke like as needed for if we need to based on our priorities moving forward. But you can arrow it to the community engagement, but that's what my idea was for that one. I just said they were so successful, and thank you to everyone, Mary, everyone on the team for making them be so successful. And I don't know who said it earlier, but I agree with, like, I love that as we brought people together, that people naturally wanted to reach out and partner. And so continuing to be a bed for that, I hope that we can set that precedence for our commission. Still curious of your votes. Yeah, thank you. I'm pausing, just waiting everyone to vote. Okay, the next one is strategic plan. Well, I guess we don't need to vote on that one. It kind of ties to the one below. Homelessness. I added that one. It's just related to what we're hearing about affordable housing, transition, and just care for our local community. That one probably could tie down to transitional housing and affordable housing. Oh no, I accidentally erased it. Oh no. I accidentally erased it, sorry. So did we cover everything, you guys? Y'all? Sorry. Did we get all of them? I'm kind of like moving my screen around. Did I miss something?
Following up with council.
Oh.
Yeah, follow with council.
Okay, yeah, sorry, thank you. Yes, does someone want to elaborate?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. That was mine. Something from coming back from listening to Councilor Payne about keeping priorities in front of them. But I also think that like even going through, let's take the school revitalization. I mean, that was begun back in 2010, I think. And we're 12 years back and we're finally making a move on that. Affordable housing is not something new. And we shuffled our feet, and we're finally getting movement, but it's still gonna take years to really fix the problem. So I'm really just trying to find out ways we can keep council, or make sure council continues to think about the priorities that they say that they run on for their constituents, but also for the residents and the members of the city of Charlottesville, that they follow through on those things that they said that they were going to. So, I mean, I thought that's what we were supposed to do. So,
Yeah.
Jessica, did you mean to put the mental health back up in there underneath homelessness? I remember that was up there too, where the star, check mark, and heart
Yeah,
are.
yes, yeah, they're all together. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, thank you. I saw that it deleted it, but I didn't see. Thank you for that. Wolfgang, you don't mind adding that in, please? Thank you. Thank you, Wolfgang and Jeanette, for tag teaming this effort. Okay, so I will pause. It looks like we have some really clear, focused, and at least for me, it's not clear on this graph. It's very, this is going to be like monumental. Like we're gonna be like, this is what we did. This is how it started. So I'm saving it. God forbid nothing happens after this. So Jeanette, I just want to go back where we've had 13, and so just I will. Okay, I did save it. I'm going to save it one more time just to make sure. I'm going to save this one more time to make sure that I've saved it. Hold on a second. I've lost it. I can't save it anymore. Okay, I'm going to screen snap it. Hold on. Okay, I have saved it. I'm going to
something delete off the right side.
Yeah.
I took a screenshot too, so we have like multiple modes of holding it.
So I'm gonna bring it back up. Oh, there, now I can erase. So I'm gonna clear it. I'm gonna save it one more time. So I've saved it several times. I'm gonna clear the whole thing. Y'all don't freak out, please. And then I'm gonna just go. We were circling what we thought we had. I'm gonna go back in and just write down what Jeanette was taking as average, and we had 13 different things. So Jeanette, do you have those averages for each one?
I just need 2 minutes to finish them.
No worries. I saved it. Todd, no worries. And I've saved the chat too.
So grateful to you for knowing how to use this platform better, because I really didn't know how to do that whiteboard thing. It's neat to see it in practice.
Yeah, I'll definitely help you. Thank you guys for this. We're almost done. Sorry, didn't get us out at 12:30 like I was hoping. If it's okay, can we talk about, because the research is kind of in its own category potentially. Never mind, I'll just wait. Jeanette. Are you ready?
They're in the chat. So I missed the decide on research. Did we not vote on that one?
No, I think that one we decided like we were gonna pin it as kind of its own.
Right. So here they are
category.
in priority order in the chat.
So that's what I was just gonna say. So the research definitely, so we'll come back to this research topic. We just decide. Okay, so what were the averages for the first topic?
If you look at the chat, I'm sorry, I moved them, I put them in order of priority.
Oh, sorry.
But there's one mistake, so I'm just gonna re-put it back in. So that messes up your ones. I'm sorry about that, your numbers, but I thought it would be easier to read this way.
Okay, gotcha. I will put this on this. Oh, no, I will not do that. I'm sorry, it's like trying to copy this in the chat to put it on the whiteboard.
Oh, is that what you want me to do?
No, it's fine. What I was thinking to have you do was to just call out each one. It's fine.
Okay, I can do that.
No, it's fine. I got it. We're gonna have to. Okay, make this bigger. Okay, so so we can talk about the research topics. Okay, so let's talk about the research projects first, because that is a mandate. And it sounds like from our discussion that there are two potential topics, one about police, and what was the second one, Wolfgang? Sorry.
You all talked about housing testing with home as a potential sort of study. Yeah.
I don't remember the order anymore.
And I think the city council budgets analysis could also be a research project.
And if this is helpful, I think there's room also for research around the current sort of system of care for people who are experiencing homelessness, and what are the holes in the system, and how could it be made more equitable. And I think there's a number of efforts ongoing around that, but there is no person holding the sort of study component around it. So just a thought.
Am I capturing that? So,
and also the housing testing was a possibility. Those 4 options, equity of what?
Oh, sorry. I'm shorthanding. The equity practices within the city council, like we're holding them accountable about what they're saying.
Okay, yeah.
Did I capture what you were saying, Todd? Sorry, multitasking doesn't.
No, it's okay. I can repeat it if it's helpful.
Please.
Basically, just saying that, an examination of the entirety of the continuum of care for people who are currently experiencing homelessness might be a good study. And I actually sort of talked with Anthony Harrow over at TJAC about that the other day, and he seemed receptive, and he's sort of the point person in that kind of area right now. So.
Okay. So some of these things went together, like the homelessness. I can't go back and fix it. In the town hall. But it looks like of the focus topics, it's very clear that we have several. We have more than 5, but we have, well, at least the 5 numbers are affordable housing, HRC staffing increase, community engagement, some of the other things we voted on underneath that, following up with city council, and then transitional housing are the top 5. Is that correct? And within affordable housing is the homelessness. Let me add this back. Wolfgang, do you mind arrowing again?
Can do. let me know what you want.
So for affordable housing, we're also putting potentially within that the homelessness. And I thought there was something else. Transitional housing as a priority. I think they go.
Let me go see if I can do a bendy line.
It seems to me that they're like
Oops, wrong one.
Are you in the middle of a thought, Jessica? Sorry.
I couldn't hear you. What were you saying, Jeanette? Sorry.
I started to say a different comment to summarize, but then I realized you were in the middle of a thought. Ernest has his hand up too, so I'll wait.
Okay, Ernest.
Question about the research project and equity in city council. What is that, please?
Sure. Do you mind if we pin that? Because I do want to have a discussion around it. I just want to like confirm our priorities and then get back to the details of each one. Is that okay? All right. So the next is HR staffing, community engagement. The community engagement connected with like town halls, potentially providing interpretive tools, and maybe even HRC committed to attending other meetings. Am I okay? I see the head nodding, so I'm gonna go with it. Following up with city council, and again, I imagine with almost all of our focus that we will be following up with city council, and how we'll be following up with our focus topics will be a little bit different, of course, with how we're following up with the research project. But I think it's kind of all encompassing of the 4 we've identified. So am I capturing that? So we're going to move forward with our focuses for this year: affordable housing with all of those things connected, HRC staffing increase, community engagement, and then the research.
I would say,
yep.
Can I add, I think if you wanted to group some topics, equity accountability is a topic that was both for the police department and city council. That could be one topic, depending on how we decide to do that. And then Human Rights Commission capacity building, or the Office of Human Rights Capacity Building, under that could be the staffing and our commitment to attending the webinars and other ways that we build our own knowledge and capacity. Those seem to me to be a conceptual bucket.
And if I may, I'd just add a little tag onto that. Keep in mind that if you know of or want me to forward on interesting training opportunities that are coming through Ashley, because she's putting together a lot of things right now, especially for city staff, but those things could be also, even if there's a cost involved, we could pay for commissioners to attend, equity workshops and so forth like that are coming up.
Yes. So then we should change that right to be, just to be like any kind of training that we're committing to, just some kind of training that we're committing to attend individually to further our craft within the commission. I think that's great. Jeanette, can I get you to say it one more time? I hear you and conceptually understand what you're saying, but to put it together, my brain is not doing that.
Sorry. So you had put to one of our core priorities is housing, right? And that included all these different elements: affordable housing, homelessness, all of that. So in the same kind of attempt of bucketing issues, number 3 was community engagement, which might be a town hall, which might be all of those attending events. Number 3, that was 2. Number 3 would be equity accountability, which could include the research into the police department on the way they treat residents. It could include the analysis of city council's budget and how it's distributed. All of those things are looking at equity commitments and checking them, making sure there's accountability.
Okay.
And then the 4th bucket could be the Office of Human Rights Capacity Building, which could include adding a staff person the commissioners attending webinars. That's just the way my brain thinks it. It's just a suggestion in terms of how to bucket those issues. And then that gives us 4 core priorities.
I like it. Okay, so the 4 priorities would be the equity and accountability, capacity building, and following up with city council, and the community engagement. No, can you type in the chat what you said before? Because I'm trying and I'm failing horribly. Okay, I will save this again. I think I can stop sharing screen. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so now for the discussion. So I like the idea of having these all grouped together, and thank you, Jeanette and Wolfgang, for tag teaming with me on this and with us collectively. So thank you guys for your patience. I'm feeling really good about these tasks, the 4 focus groups. So let's talk about the first one, equity housing. I know there's questions in all of this of like how and what we're going to do. So would like to open that discussion, not in that we need to figure all the things, but maybe start brainstorming maybe like the first steps. And again, do we want this to be, do we want to create our own ad hoc committees for each of our 4 focus topics for this year? So open discussion for the housing equity. Yes, Todd.
Out of respect and in the interest of blood sugar maintenance, I also would say that, well, first of all, this is an incredible like narrowing down and focus already. And so you know, just to remind you, you have, you know, the flexibility to like not go too deeply into this if you don't want to. Just
no, I didn't mean for us to go deep at all. I meant this like high level, like ultimately I'm suggesting it, but maybe I should say it more high. Like I think we should create ad hoc committees for each of them. I like us to decide today who'd like to be on them, and then we can end our meeting. Okay, Wolfgang.
Okay, I guess I was thinking about these 4 categories differently, as like we would all be using the functional tools with the topical element. And so like housing equity will be the focus of for the year, but we will also have to provide accountability to city council. We'll have to do a bunch of outreach and everything. And so housing equity by itself may not be a committee. We just may have like 3 committees all doing various things on this particular topic. That's how I was thinking about it. I don't know if that's helpful for y'all, but
yeah, I'm happy for the committees to look however they need. I think what I'm thinking about it is like, it's hard for any one person. Like you could do all just like, we're all doing it collectively speaking, but like to do community engagement, to have a focused subset of us to do just like to be focusing on pushing that, like getting on social media, identifying like what we're wanting to do, like just focusing our efforts, and we're still coming together collectively to talk about it. That's what I'm thinking. However it looks, but I think a mixture of like the planning together and also like doing the due diligence of the research parts of these, if it could be focused, that's what I'm meaning. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in these 4 that we've identified, but just identifying like, what is it, kind of what I was wanting to hear without going into much depth is like, what is it that we feel like information that we don't have that we need? So as we are moving forward, we have some ideas of like, okay, housing, like it may, for example, just be like, we're going through all of Todd's notes and identifying and putting up a plan to then present to city council. The community, like our community engagement, it's like working with community engagement to identify how to do the social media, how to get all the, you know, like all this, like all of those things. Yes, Wolfgang. Yes.
How do you see the research project falling into either of these? I would like to be involved on that part. Is that OHR capacity building?
Yeah.
Okay, then put me on that committee.
Others' thoughts? I'd like to continue in the vein of the community engagement. And Todd, I guess it doesn't need a committee for the HRC capacity building, the specific point of getting you more staff members, but I guess we can just work with you on what does that look like, and when we're presenting to city council, it'll be the thing we continue to present to them. But you know, data, whatever data we need. I know you mentioned earlier about having like the report and just having the numbers, and so I think that part of it, just you know, working with you. Jeanette, yes.
I would like to continue on the community engagement committee. I will say that the way I was thinking when I proposed the 4 categories wasn't necessarily our action groups, but they were more like just summarizing the topics. So it might take me a little while to let it digest what you're suggesting, Jessica, and to be able to respond.
Okay.
Because similar to what Wolfgang said, I think there's going to be a lot of complexity in the housing equity piece and different projects to work on, whereas some of the other ones are just like the city equity accountability could be the research, and you know. So I might not have summarized these in the best way for action.
No, so I think maybe what will be good is like, well, one will have minutes, and I'll try to, not today, but I'll try to like use that visual we had before we kind of broke it up into these 4, and just say like housing, this is what we had, community engagement, this is what we were talking about, equity, this is what we were talking about. And that way we give time to think and process about maybe what steps and what it looks like and who's committing to what. Does that sound fair to everyone? And that way we can get off and you guys can have your Saturday back.
And Jessica, I want to just offer my time to you to say, like, if it's helpful, like maybe you and I can sit down, and Ernest, if you have some freedom to do that too, we could sit down, take this, process it together, maybe synthesize it, and then present some options to the commission so that you kind of advance it a little bit and make it have to, you know, right now I too am reading, I'm like, okay, I think I get this, but then you're like, oh, I need to think about it for a little bit. So maybe everybody's in that
Yes,
space.
absolutely, Todd. Yes, I would like to not look this by myself.
Yeah, I agree. This is a lot of it's a heavy lift. And a lot of it also, some of the housing stuff is going to be connecting in with I think like someone said earlier today, with other community groups that are doing it as well. You know, we don't want to be creating something that's already being done, but we need to, I think, help advocate for those that are already doing it. Lending our voice as well with keeping pressure or keeping city council accountable to affordable housing and things like that. So yeah, let's do that.
So maybe Jessica and Ernest, we can connect via email and select a date, like as a next action step, really. Like the 3 of us will select a date that works and we can sort of parse this out.
Yeah, and Erica also wanted to be a part of it, so happy to have. Yeah, sounds good. I'm super proud of what we've accomplished today. Again, in the synthesis, we've had 13 things and kind of bundling those 13 underneath the 4 that we've discussed, and potentially giving like not recommendations, but like it would require research in this area, it would require research in this area, or due diligence in this, so that there's a little bit more of a path forward. Y'all feel good about this? I'm excited. Look at us. We just accomplished doing stuff on a Saturday. Yes, Wolfgang.
Oh, I just wanted to say I'm eager to get started. I don't want to like run rogue, but if I find an opportunity of interest that I can to kind of delve into between this meeting and our next meeting, like I don't want to wait a month to get started. So I may just like ping y'all, be like, hey, here's an opportunity. I'm going to research it and come with ideas. And great. I don't want to like, because I don't want to be out there speaking for the Human Rights Commission. Like I have that, I'm just a little person over here. But I want to get started. So, okay.
By the way, you're not a little person, you're a big person.
Big person.
I appreciate that.
Big
So,
ideas.
Yes.
Big
Again,
challenges.
like I don't want to do this in a vacuum. Again, what we'll be doing is synthesizing, but afterwards your brain is percolating, you're up throughout the week and you're like, oh, I thought of this connection, or I'm aware of this partnership. Like, please, like, let us know. What I hope most for our commission as we're going forward, that we're leaders and we're also being thought partners with others, right? We don't have to do this work with housing. We don't have to do it by ourselves, but being strategic and saying, like, for example, let's go to the different commission meetings, gathering data. Maybe it's not on a consistent basis, like, I mean, every month in every one of their meetings, but that we start being more strategic in the efforts. It doesn't mean that other things don't come up, but we'll be more strategic and laser focus on these 4 topics. Lindell, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I thanked Todd for all the work that he has done, Ernest for your service on the commission, and Jessica for leading this incredible meeting and getting all of this done. And I would just like to take a moment to acknowledge that this is a heavy day for you. And I know that it was hard to be here. And I especially appreciate what the gift that you've given us. So, and just also being with all of you. Wonderful.
Same vibes. So wait, we have more. Tana's about to wrap us out and we have more. Are there any? I was gonna call a meeting. Commissioners, do we have any updates? Everyone's like, Jessica, if you don't end this meeting in the next 2 seconds. Okay, so we will so the next steps, I've already said them, but Todd and I and Erica, all those that are willing, we will find a time to get together to synthesize. You guys, as you're thinking about this and the work that we've done, I will send out the notes and the visuals. I will not add any context. I'll just send it to you guys, but in the synthesis, I will make context to what I'm about to send out, but I just want to send it out so you have it for record keeping. Thank you guys again for all that you've done. Again, Mary, I want to start with how we kind of started and just saying your work that you have done with the commission and your leadership last year has set us up to be in a great place here. So I just want to emphasize that again. I hope you know that I'm saying that deeply from my heart. Ernest, I hope you have an amazing rest of your birthday weekend. Thank you guys for doing this work, and I look forward to the months to come. And I'm officially calling this meeting at 1:01 p.m. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you all. Thank you, Justin. Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Have a great one.
Thanks, everyone. Happy birthday, Ernest.
Thanks, God.